So Jesus is very clear today in this beginning of Advent that we need to wake up, that people tend to be walking around in a trance, asleep, distracted, and to move out of the whole distractedness of life, which is so prevalent, into a deeper understanding, a truth of being alert. Now, we no longer live in first century Palestine. That's where Jesus was bringing that message to in his time. But we are now living, of course, in the year 2020, in a political, social world in which we need to, which is different than the world that Jesus was in. For one thing, we no longer have Newtonian physics. I personally don't understand multi-universes or what they're talking about in that, but I know that it's basically a new ball game, that experience, not authority, is the basis of people's decision making, and we live in a world in which, biblical or not, there is truth, but truth may not be factual always, but it is nonetheless true. So our task is to wake up to the Spirit moving now, and I personally can't conceive of what more than 7 billion people on planet Earth means to our moral, physical, or social environment. And I'm personally at a complete loss to address the needs which create massive starvation, poverty, injustice, sickness, and violence. But I do know that the Spirit is alive and working now in our lives if we just wake up and pay attention. I can strive not to contaminate the future by missing the present because of the past. Like Jesus, be alert and open to surprise. In this vein, I have some suggestions how we can practically be alert. First of all, avoid cliches. A cliche is an opinion that's overused and betrays a lack of original thought. There's shortcuts to thinking and spontaneity. My grandpa Kenna used to say, people just think, they don't really think. I think that's true of many people today. Canned solutions are like fast food. They're tasty, but if you make a life out of them, you're going to get sick and they're not going to work. That's all you eat. We got to be careful not to repeat stupid statements taken unthinkingly. Jesus sharply challenged the shoddy, superficial, self-serving rhetoric of the Pharisees as well as the Roman order. He didn't believe something just because somebody said it or because the religious authority approved. If he did, we wouldn't be listening to him this afternoon telling us to wake up. So first of all, I avoid cliches. Alert, I avoid cliches. Secondly, we listen. We need to quiet the static. Most of my time is spent either chewing on the past or being afraid of the future, being unaware of what's happening right now. I think some people, their thought of thinking is about as deep as digesting food. It just goes on. Listening amid the blare and cacophony of conflicting opinions is daunting. And it takes a level of prayer and contemplation, which is very foreign to our busy work society. We need to develop a spiritual sense of the Spirit speaking. Creativity is new answers to old questions and adequate answers to new ones. Jesus understood that the mind needs downtime to reorganize. Alert, I listen for God. Alert, I listen for God. Thirdly, we expect miracles. We open our eyes, we can see we miss the future if we sleep projecting our past into it. Fear is a poor motivator. Jesus' life and ministry manifested miracles, healings, transformations on a regular basis. And we need to develop a spiritual sense to expect miracles. Folks, the Holy Spirit is real and is as close to you and to me as our breath. He's very busy doing wonderful things. If we just stop letting our bloated egos take over. Every disciple of Jesus worth his or her salt knows what it means to walk on water. I think if you're a parent, look into the eyes of your child. To me, that's the greatest miracle there is. Alert, I expect miracles. Alert, I expect miracles. And R is for retreat. The thing is, we need to get out of Dodge. Stand back and get perspective. Mirror, and psychodrama, we have what's called the mirror position, in which a person is able to stand back from him or herself and see them as other people look at them. And it's very powerful. So we need to get out of our head to our heart. And the way we get out of our head to our heart is through our mouth, through talking and listening. So we need to connect with somebody, read a book, find a confidant, a therapist, spiritual director, a bartender, whoever, but somebody to talk to and who will listen to you. I personally had a couple days off, and it's been great, finally. Alert, I take time for retreat. Alert, I take time for retreat. And thirdly, T is for trust, that God is in charge. The future belongs to God, and he has some fantastic things he wants to do. We need to let go of our dualistic thinking and move beyond our lizard brain to a higher consciousness in which faith is the dynamic that rules. The fact is, most of us are walking around in a trance a lot of the time. The Holy Spirit is powerfully moving in our postmodern world if we but open our eyes to it. T, alert, I trust Spirit. Alert, I trust Spirit. So, that's what the gospel is telling us today. On this wonderful First Communion Day, be alert. Don't go to sleep. Know that God is present and working. Working is by avoiding cliches, listening, expecting miracles, retreating, and trusting spirit. Wake up. Be alert.